Hi, everybody. Welcome to Made of Stars, starting me and Amanda. Today's topic, we're talking about healthy boundaries. So, as 2021 comes to an end, we discover a lot this year about healthy boundaries. So, what's some of the healthy boundary for you that you have set for yourself or is going to set for the beginning of the new year?
Yeah, I think it's really important to let people know like where you're at, friends, family, whoever. I mean, people you've just met, even. So I think recently, I've had a couple interactions with friends where I think to myself, like, okay, something needs to be said. Like, something really needs to be said because otherwise, people are going to think that you're okay with certain behaviors just because you don't say anything, even if they're like detrimental to you and potentially detrimental to the other person too, because they don't know that they're even upsetting you. So, if it's someone who's late all the time and you have to like be like, hey, my time is important too, or, whatever the case may be in your situation, just, there has to be certain things that you express to them, or even if it's just like, hey, I'm not going to talk after like 1 a.m unless it's an emergency. We're not having a conversation. Like, sometimes you just have to like let people know, because otherwise they'll think it's okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, this year is solely, I really discovered that I have boundaries with certain people, but when it comes to my family, it's a different story. So I have
Right.
to learn to set that boundary next year, coming up. And then, like you said, like I do not tolerate people who are extremely late. Okay, if you're late like 10 minutes, I'll give you a courtesy time. You know what I mean? 5
Right.
to 10 minutes for me, it's okay. But anything past 10 to 15 minutes, now you're just pushing it. And then anything that's over 20 minutes, you're just really pushing them my button. And at that point, I would just tell them, hey, look, this is not going to work and we'll see each other next time, or I have things to do. So yeah, I have done that to a couple of my friends, or just, letting them know, hey, my time is valuable too. And that's a very healthy boundary to set is time. A lot of people doesn't not know how to set a healthy time boundaries. Um, you know, it's we all need a rest, but like I said, some unless it's an emergency. Um, Other than that, it's just harder to tell, people that you really care about, and especially friends and your family, because you don't want them feel like bad about it, but then you also don't want to feel bad about it. It's like, what is the in between middle? What's the right middle? you know if like a specific way that you guys done, comment below. We love to hear it. How do you tell your friends and family to stop a certain, gesture or things that you do not like? How do you set a healthy boundary, not just with time, but like with also with yourself, like things like that.
Yeah, I think for me it's just about um being able to be honest with people, because sometimes it's going to be a little uncomfortable, especially at first. But if you're able to be honest with um your friends, I think it shows that you do have a true friendship, and it shows that you really can have those conversations that might not be like, you know, puppies and rainbows, as they say, night, without even like going into like explanations or excuses, like, I just don't feel like going out tonight. um and I feel like if you know someone well enough, you can just be able to be honest with them. I think people are kind of labeling being flaky as like self-care nowadays. They're like, oh well, well, I'm staying at home and like a lot of people are just like, I'm just gonna stay at home and every time I'm gonna cancel all these plans. That's another, those are two different things. Like the canceling on people 24/7 and self-care are two different things. Like if you decide to spend more time with yourself 1 month or 2 months or something, but with the certain things, like whether it's on TikTok or wherever, like they kind of are glorifying just being flaky. But I don't really resonate with that though. It's just being respectful,
Mhm.
trying to be responsible with your time, other people's time.
True. And it's not just like time, like I said, with yourself, like I have set boundary with my own self, like the example, like setting boundary of when I meditate, you know what I mean? Like when I'm doing, like you say, self-love or meditations, I put my phone on silence or aka focus if you have an iPhone or Apple product. I'm not sure what's with Androids, what function they have, but I know at least with my phone and my computer and everything, it's all connected. Once I set focus, for an hour, 2 hours, so on and so forth, that pretty much letting people know, hey, do not disturb me. I'm either doing something that's important or, things like that. Even on like right now, I put focus for an hour, whatever, however long, and that letting people know, you know, I'm busy at the moment and I'll get back to you when I have the time. So that's like the boundary I kind of set for myself about if I'm out walking, things like that. I just want time for me and nothing else, no distraction. That's what I'll do. And that's part of the setting boundary healthy in a way, because like you say, you have to get back to yourself. You have to connect with yourself, whether you're walking, sitting, meditate, or just spend time with your friends, and sometimes like I put focus on when I talk to other friends or you or whoever, just letting other people know, hey, I'm busy, whatever I'm doing, I don't want to be disturbed, you know what I mean? So,
So I actually don't know if there's an Android version of Focus. Is it like airplane mode?
I think so. I'm not sure. I don't know what Android users does,
Hmm.
like go in silence mode.
Is it
It's
like do not disturb? No.
it's kind of I don't know. I don't have an Android. I never had an Android.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I have
I
to look
mean,
into
so if Android people knows, comment below. We love to know what, function you have for the phone, your Android phone. Because I always have Apple product and Apple product is do not disturb. Now it's called focus. So when you see the little moon on people's phone, that means they don't want to be disturbed at that time.
So can other people see that you're on the focus mode?
Yeah, they could see.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Interesting.
so basically, um, you could see I'm on silent mode or doesn't focus mode right now because whoever's on my friends list, and things like that, they could see that I'm on it's like a little moon. So and it's basically it's kind of like that, a little moon.
Oh,
So
that, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's just an example of how Apple product works. But anyway, so I don't know with Android, I don't know how they function. But again, that's letting people know, hey, I'm busy at the moment. And if you need to talk to me, you can still text me. I won't get the text right away. But as soon as I go like focus like turn it off, I'll get the text. But I do have my emergency like on, like because you can set an emergency setting. So anything that's emergency, like phone call, text, whatever, if it's emergency, they will it will go through basically. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's something with Apple product that I know of, but again, I don't know anything with Android. So, comment below if you want to help other Android people to know that functions.
That's handy because like even if you're just applying for jobs and you need an hour or two to yourself or a work thing, you know, you might
Yeah.
just want some quiet, like where you're not bombarded with Facebook notifications, tags, Insta notifications, and things that are just not important at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even just being able to like tell certain people in your life, like, hey, this is what I find okay, this is what I find not okay. Hey, is it okay if we don't talk about politics today? Like, is it okay if we don't talk about COVID-19 today? Even that's setting healthy boundaries because truthfully, you know, there's certain topics that I want to put my energy into, and there's certain topics that I do not want to put my energy into.
Yeah. I mean, totally though, because like there's so much stuff going on this world. Sometimes you just don't want to talk about certain topics like that. You know what I mean? You want
Yeah,
to, focus on the positive and not the negative part. So,
right.
like being said that again, that's a difficult conversation. And then, setting how healthy boundary with, even conversation about negativity, because that's a lot of energy that you're putting out to somebody, that constantly being negative, and to protect your own energy, protect your mind, your insanity. Sometimes you'd be like, hey, stop, hold on, stop a minute. I do not want to talk about this topic at this time.
Right.
So that's okay. I mean, you don't have to talk about certain topic every day because, like you said, in the state of our world right now, COVID-19's brought up like all the time, every day with where your friends, family, or even strangers. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just gotten too much, and your mind just overblown. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like to say, like, and again, politics is another one. So I usually don't talk about politics and that kind of nature with most of people that I do not agree with. And I have set healthy boundaries with those people and be like, you know what? This is not where we want to stand. And then I don't want to talk about it. At the end of the day, I'd probably listen to 0.1% of not like anything that that person ever said. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like, again, like you said, tune out. Like there just comes to a point we just tune out. Yeah.
but but I think for me, especially like if you're negative and paranoid a lot, which a lot of people are getting kind of paranoid at this point, they really feel like the world is against them. They
Hmm.
feel like the world is out to get them. And I think we need to bring more pronoia into the conversation, which is like thinking that the world is conspiring to help you and that the world is working with you and not against you. And that's just not a topic of conversation. Um, so, you know, it's just all about finding ways to incorporate that and to let people know, like, hey, this is my comfort zone.
Right. Exactly. Like you said. Another thing is like, how do you set healthy boundaries, especially with your family? I'm having a tough time with that because, like I said, I don't want to upset my family, you know, or anything. So I'm still working on that. That will be my work, mission to work on next year and coming up. And it just, that's something that I have a tough time. I don't know how anybody feel about that, like audience. How do you communicate with your family sometimes and you just want to tell them like, hey, I need my own space. Hey, I you know, want to go out with friends or something like that.
Yeah, family dynamics are even harder to break because they've been going on longer most of the time. So you really have to advocate for yourself and for the relationship too, you know, by saying those things. Like like in my case, you know, I have a family member who would always just have these like never ending conversations that would go on for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'm just like, I gotta go to school, I gotta go to work. Almost like almost trapped, but like trapped in a web of my own making, because I could just say, okay, I gotta go, I'll talk to you later, and just walk away. It's as simple as that. But like when you feel that, people need you, maybe they're lonely, maybe they act like you're the only person that they can talk to, or maybe they just, you have this, relationship that you want out of them, so you're
Yeah.
going to do whatever it takes, what, like in that case in the past. And I felt that I would always be like trapped in that chair and my back would be like falling off, and it took a while to break out of that dynamic. And needless to say, like, my sibling was not pleased. They were not pleased with me being like, hey, I gotta do me. And not everyone's always going to respond in a positive way for you standing up for yourself,
Right.
but you still have to do it. And
Yeah.
as you grow up, it gets easier as you do it more.
True. I agree. I mean, that's something I have to work on. And, like I said, it's tough because for me, like everybody look after me as I look after them as well. And I kind of have to also remind myself not to ask where they going and what they're doing, and be okay with that too. Like, what I mean? Also like setting the boundary, with them. And then also you have to set a boundary not to ask too. You know what I mean? So it goes vice versa, and I typically don't ask, unless they tell me, but sometimes I do ask just, out of curiosity, but time and sometimes you have to keep something to yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think people have fear because they feel like they're going to lose something. They're going to lose some closeness. There's a lot of fear in not being honest and open about your comfort zone. And I just think that for me, like sometimes I get a lot of anxiety when I know I'm gonna have to have that conversation
Yeah.
with someone in my life. And you just, like one of my friends was just like, you just didn't follow up about the job I mentioned, and like you just kind of just left it hanging there.
Like you have a boundary that you want to give off, and the boundary is you don't want to tell them everything, either you go for the job or you don't. That's your own choice. And it's not about wishy-washy at all to me. It's about what you're willing to say and what you're not willing to say. And if you're not sure, then you're not sure. You don't have to say, well, this and that, you know what I mean? Because then other people perceive it like you don't know what you're want and what do you want. And I can see how that's annoying to them and to you. So in that said, like sometimes I think best just to say, you know what, I think it's the best to leave it at that. And I know what I want and I don't have to tell you about it because that's my choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that you don't want to talk about. If you have an interview coming up and you haven't gotten the job yet, you don't have to tell anyone you don't want to. You tell whoever you want. If
Yeah.
someone's like, and in my case, someone was trying to like offer me like a test run for a job, um, that was kind of like the pay was a lot lower than what I'm used to. So
Mhm.
that's why I was kind of wishy-washy. But in the case of like you just job hunting, you don't need to update everyone. You
Yeah.
don't need to update anyone necessarily. Only the people that you choose to know this information, that you feel are going to support you.
Right. And not only that, like if the test run of the job and the pay grade is low, and that's you, like you don't want to have that position. I mean, because you have a self-respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's like you're respecting yourself says, hey, I'm not gonna take this job because it's paying me this low. I deserve more. You know what I mean?
I don't
So,
want to come off as ungrateful, but
right.
also I was just like the pay grade is just like I'm
Yeah,
not doing
exactly.
can't do minimum wage again. Just can't do that.
Right,
Like,
exactly. So you have a what's called a setting boundary of self-respect. You respect yourself a lot more than wanting to take that low grade, low paying job because you're worth a lot more. It's like instead of here, you're like over here. You know what I mean?
right.
So that's healthy boundary setting. If the other people doesn't get it, then that's their problem because like I said, you respect yourself more to not take that job. I probably would have did the same thing. I'll be like, hey, this is not what I'm used to pay. Like I get paid a lot more than that. Now they lower my pay now to minimum wage. I'm not willing to take that job right now. I'm not willing to lower myself down to that grade level. I respect myself I respect myself and again, like I am worth more than what you think. So that's a very healthy boundary to set, and I applaud for you for that because a lot of people be like, well, that's a low paying job. And then they start thinking negative, talk about negative, why they don't take it. But you don't go there. You just like, hey, I'm not taking that job. That's not my pay grade. And I'm not going to do this test run. That's it. End of story. You left it at
Yeah.
that. So, and like I said, you are advocate for yourself. You're saying, this is me, this is how much I want, this is how much I'm worth or more.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. As long as you're straightforward, it just saves a lot of time. I should have just been 100% straight from the beginning because I was dragging it out. Because I just didn't want to seem ungrateful, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just, you learn from these mistakes and you learn from different experiences. Like even now, if you have roommates, which you probably do, if you're a millennial or Gen Z or even anyone at this point, there's a lot of things that you need to do to like set healthy boundaries at home with your roommates, if you're with friends, if you're with family, or if you're with like strangers or people that you're befriending. You still have to like, have certain guidelines at home, especially because I really want my room to be like my temple. I
Mhm.
want my house and the space to be a safe haven for me and whoever I choose to like bring into that space. So it's
Right.
like, how can I create that for myself? Um, I think I need to get better at just telling people, I don't really want to go out tonight. No reason. I
Yeah.
just don't want to go out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I just don't want to go out tonight. Why is that? I just don't feel like it.
Right. You don't
Like,
you don't have to give a reason. If you don't want to go out, no go out. Like just same thing as me. Like sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to eat this cuisine because I don't feel like I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's the same thing. It's a different when you live by yourself and having family and friends visiting, and I that's another thing is I want to be a great host. So sometimes I fail to set that boundary with them, with you, with them, with anybody. You know what I mean? So I kind of sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, but sometimes like I'm not feeling it, you know what I mean? But again, I'm just grateful that you guys came visit me and I need to start setting that boundary, be like, hey, I'm not feeling it right now, I'm not wanting to do that. And which, it's okay, at the end of the day, my family kind of have this thing like if you're not feeling it, just say it. Like if you're not feeling certain cuisine for the night, just say it. They can get it. I don't have to get it.
I think from the most basic level, setting healthy boundaries is saying yes when you want to say yes and saying no when you want to say no. Like that is just like that core humanistic, you know, those are the simplest things. Those are the two things that you really need to focus on. If you can only start with these two things, that's at the core of almost every single boundary that you're trying to set for yourself. and
Right.
everyone in your life. You really need to be able to say, yes, I'd love to. No, I don't want to do that at all.
I agree.
Um, or
Totally.
just yes or just no. I mean, just it's a time saver, and it also just allows you to be honest with yourself. You want to be authentic. You want to follow your calling and your authenticity. And you can't do that if you're constantly people pleasing and constantly telling everyone, including yourself, what it is that you feel that they want to hear or
Yeah,
that you want to hear.
exactly. So with the end of the year coming too, I want to wish you all a happy new year, prosperity, love, joy, and happiness. And at the end of all, set boundaries with yourself, with people that are around you, even strangers, get to know them, set boundary right off the bat, and that's easier said than done. I know that. But at the same time, I just want to, tell you all, we made it to another year. Congratulations. Let's set a healthy boundary for 2022. Let's go.
Yep,
Uh,
keep
that's
going, everyone.
yours, all.
Happy New Year. Happy 2022.
Happy 2022. Bye.
Bye.